Sunday in the Breakfast Club, and I am Serious Mind. Trump was at the G20 summit the last few days, and it looks like it turned out even worse than I could have expected. And but even beyond just the immediate problem of how it went, brought into mind some things that really concern me. Particularly, I saw a reporter talking about how it went and how isolated Trump was and alone. And there's a lot of pictures taken and a lot of video, to back that up. And the thing that is kind of puzzling in a way, to a degree, is that this was the guy who he's supposed to be the wheeler dealer. He didn't know a lot about policy and all that, but if anything, he's the businessman and he knows how to make deals and he can talk to other people and bring people to the table. And judging from this G20, I think that's been laid bare, writ large, and it has me concerned, for not just for the here and now, for the long term, because whatever anyone wants to say about the United States, we have our detractors, and sometimes they even, have a valid point. But even then, people still look to us. Even if it was begrudging, even if they didn't want to, people did look to us to lead in a lot of ways. I think of even things that we get criticism for, but we were asked to do in the first place. I'm thinking about Kosovo, for instance, and how France did not want to get involved, and they basically insisted that in order for them to get involved, the United States would have to get involved first. So we did, and then they came along, and it actually worked out. We got the result that we and our European allies wanted for the most part. But of course, it's kind of fun, I guess, for people to punch on the U.S. because we make it easy sometimes. We do blunder through a lot of things, and sometimes the choices we make aren't so hot, and other people have to suffer the consequences. So sometimes, when that's the case, and when you are the big boy in the block, some people like to see you fail on occasion. Not too hard, especially if they need you, but they like to see you stumble a little bit. Kind of get your comeuppance, humble you a little bit. And I guess that's to be expected. But what's happening now is basically, the European powers, they really look like they decided that they're just going to go their own way. And the thing that's scary to me is that, seeing all the Trump supporters who basically think that's great. They've got it in their mind that the only reason why these other countries were around because they were just sucking at the teat of the U.S. And there's been some of that over the years, but there's a lot more to it, and there's definitely been partnerships with other countries, and for as much as we've given other countries, a lot of other countries have given us a lot. They've, in terms of trade, in terms of support, military support, logistics, and all sorts of things. And the list goes on and on. So, maybe it's not always been an equal partnership, but sometimes we haven't recognized the contribution from our friends, and that's kind of a crime. That's kind of a sin, because and I know something that a lot of Europeans are sensitive about, particularly if we talk about what went on in World War II, and afterward. We love to talk about what we did, and what the United States did was pretty impressive and pretty huge and important. But sometimes we forget that we had allies, and they contributed a lot as well. So basically, it seems like the Trump supporters, they want to hit the accelerator and let's get away, and that's really been Trump's only foreign policy approach. Has been, if we're in something, if we're in some sort of agreement, if we're in some sort of whether it's a treaty, then let's get out of it, because somehow that's putting America first. but I really have to question: is it really? Because if there's a treaty or a trade deal or whatever, and the United States stands to benefit from it, well then that is how you put America first. You know, what are America's interests? And isolating America from the rest of the world, I don't think is in America's interest. So if something that's not in America's interest, you can't be putting America first. Because America first doesn't mean America only, or at least it shouldn't. Because we can't do everything by ourselves. And you know, you can slap all the protectionist policies out there you want, but you know, that's not going to change the force of history. And we really run the risk of isolating ourselves, not just in the short term, but really in the long term. Because if we allow China and Russia to kind of fill the void, you know, people will just move on. And you know, our economy, you know, we love to talk about how rich we are and how big our economy is, but it's dependent on these relationships. And if we despoil those, you know, it's not going to last forever, particularly given that we've got, what, $19-20 trillion in debt, much of which we owe to the Chinese. So, you know, what do they think that this is going to help? I don't see how Trump or any of his supporters think that this serves us in any way. You know, it's just like the constant anti-UN harangue that I've heard from conservatives for the last 40 years, and the drumbeat's gotten louder. The thing is, you know, we built the UN. The UN was largely built, you know, because the U.S. wanted to protect its interests, and that was a tool that we wanted to use to do it, and it served us in a lot of ways. But somehow, you know, talking to other people is seen as anathema. So, you know, we've talked. A lot of people have talked for the last 20 years about the U.S. being on the decline, and you know, I really think that this mindset. It's not just Trump, but Trump he is the embodiment of all the bad policies that we've had over the last 50 years in a suit. And you know, he's just kind of putting the accelerator on our decline. And you know, the right wing loves to say that liberals, you know, hate America. We want to see America fail, which is fucking stupid. We don't want to see America fail. We want to see America succeed. The thing is that I don't think the right wing knows how to make America succeed or what constitutes success. And so we've not agreed with their policies or their methods on how to make America better. And I really feel like, you know, we really could be in the twilight of American leadership in the world. And it was interesting, a video I saw, a reporter from The Guardian had said, you know, there's a lot of people out there who would like to see the U.S. fail. He says, but I think, you know, we'll miss them when they go. And I think he's probably right. But, you know, the more we alienate people, the more we isolate ourselves, the fewer people will care that we go, and the more people that'll be happy. And that does not make me happy in the slightest. That makes me very worried. And because I do love this country, for all its faults. But I don't know if there's anything we can do to change it. Not unless we get out there and vote and stop putting petty bullshit in front of real serious problems. You know, I point back to the election. You know, all the people who said that there was no difference. You were wrong. You were wrong. And so, you know, maybe it's not your fault, but you share some culpability in what's going on right now. Anyway, that's my take on it. I think Got That Funk is up next, and I'm sure he'll have something riveting for us because he's a pretty smart guy. All right, I'll take care. See you next time.